Welcome, humans on all the spectrums, to Tavern Talk, a Wheel of Time talk show brought to you by the way that Leaf. In this episode, we continue our rewatch of Season 1 of Amazon Prime's adaptation, and we are diving into Episode 2. Thank you for joining us, and enjoy the show.
Oh yeah! Hey, hey! Woo!
Episode 2. Talking Episode 2. Episode 2.
What you gonna do?
Bringing it to you.
Making a 2. Not 1, not 3, but 2. 2, 3, 3, 2, 1, and a 2.
All right.
My audio went up for some reason.
Oh, let's fix that. All right, everyone. Thank you for being here today. And if you're watching this on replay, I just want to say that you've either lost or gained weight. Either way, it looks great on you.
It looks good. You look younger.
And as always, if you haven't yet, please take a second to hit that like button and consider subscribing to our channel. We've lost Jansen. This is not a good start.
Hello, Ryan.
Hello, brother Dan. How you be? How do you fare this fine Sunday?
Oh, I'm great. I'm great. Watched a little football. Watched the episode. This episode it's a dang good episode.
You know, when they're on TV, it does look like a little football.
I watch a little football.
Jansen, welcome to the show. How's this sound?
Sounds great, guys. Sounds great. It's good to be here again. And it's also good to be here with all of you guys watching us. Can't wait to discuss this today.
Yeah, Episode 2. So, yeah, typically we're going to be starting each and every episode with the answer to Dragon Mount's weekly question to Rafe Judkins. That's right, Dragon Mount is doing their rewatch. They're doing a live reaction rewatch every Monday over on DragonMount.com YouTube channel. But this week we have no answer to the question. It's just a radio silence. We imagine Rafe is just super busy.
Busy man.
Maybe if he covers this week's question later, we will bring it up in next week's episode. And speaking of Dragon Mount, Tom from Dragon Mount is slated to join us. He is running late. He will do his very damnedest to get here and join us when he can. All right, all the business is done. We have more business. We'll get to it later. But let's get into the episode. Jansen, I know you have some notes. Everyone is here to hear your thoughts because you are the industry insider. You know all about productions. You know what it takes to put on shows. You know all the behind the scenes. So I want to start picking your brain.
Okay. So, for one thing, for those of you guys out there who are just tuning in who didn't get to see last week, I'm going to start it because we are talking about the show. And it is an incredibly hard thing to dissect something as vast as the Wheel of Time is, and trim it down and reconstruct it so people who haven't read the book can understand some of the nuances, some of the small and little things that they have to bring, because it is so vast and you don't have a lot of time to get it through to everyone. So we're going to jump right into it. You know, the first episode of the series, you know, they pretty much put together the first 10 chapters of The Eye of the World. And they, for the most part, took about 85% of it, and they left some things out and they brought some things in. And they did the same thing for the second episode, which started out from the chapters of The Eye of the World, The Road to Terran Ferry. And I thought that they handled it really nicely. They consolidated a lot because a lot of things happen on the time when they're on the road to Terran Ferry. And we're going to talk about some of the differences, some of the similarities, and some of the outright changes that they did.
Awesome. Yeah, there's it does the first 10 chapters. That's a good point. It does kind of cook through. The pacing, I think, is pretty good in this episode. I like the pacing a lot.
Yeah.
It did have its time to sit and rest with the song when the teaching of the teaching of Egwene, the power stuff. These were more slow down, but for the most part, they were on the run, you know?
Yes, definitely. And you got that feeling of them being chased. You got some of the things from the book that they added in and they took away. Like we can start with, you know, when Moraine in the book was in the Two Rivers and she was staying at the Wine Spring Inn, Darl and Harry Copland wanted her forced out after the Trollocs attacked. And they got a little group together, and that's when we got the first story of Manetheren from Moraine. Mm-hmm. And we didn't get that until the second episode of The Wheel of Time, when they were actually on the road to Terran Ferry. And I thought that it was really good the way they did it. And Matt started singing, everyone started singing with him, and then Moraine
Perrin coming in with the nice baritone.
Walking in the footsteps of a father.
Weep for the blood of Amen. I love it. It was great. I thought, and I even like the song. The song actually got me that warm fuzzy because you know what it's about, and that's the other thing I love what Rafe Judkins is doing. He's giving us readers, the people who read the book, the fans that have been there for a long time. He's giving us those pieces to grasp, and even the people who haven't read the book get to see this, and it still gives them a feeling. Okay, so this is a sense of a very, very, very old group of people. Mm-hmm. You know, these people go back and they have these old traditions, these songs about their ancestors. And Moraine giving the explanation after them singing that helps with those people who haven't read. And us, obviously, who have read, got to delve in a little bigger, and we got to hear a song that they didn't hear in the book, which I love. Mm-hmm. You know, that was something that they added that we really liked. It was a piece of something that was good. I thought
our first-time reader, Josh, is convinced that this is a post-apocalyptic book, that all knowledge is gone, but they had flying cars earlier. And the show seems to indicate there are ruins. There's this history that Matt doesn't even... He's like, I don't know who Manetheren is. She's like, it's not a who, dummy. And it seems like they ride underneath a broken down aqueduct, perhaps.
Yep. I think Josh is right. I think he's got a lot of. I think Josh is right in the sense. I think that is one of the things that Rafe Judkins is trying to show us is that, and even with, you know, there have been times in the book where they talk about when they talk to Luce Theron. By the way, spoiler alert, guys. This is yes. I'll put
the lines lost today. I know.
Yeah.
This is a full spoiler episode.
This is a full spoiler, and you know, they talk about Luce Theron bringing them back 10,000 years or 1,000 years or however long it is with his rash, you know, actions. So, you know, they literally they give us the feel that yes, we are definitely living in a post-apocalyptic environment, and you know, and the wheel does turn, so you know, this isn't the first time this has happened, we are in the apocalypse.
And this episode we got two kind of lore dumps, right? We got the history of Shadow Logoth from Lan, and we got the history of Manetheren from Moraine.
Yes. And we also got something else that we didn't get in the book quite as early as we did in the series. Now, if we remember, for those of you who have recently and have watched episode 2 of The Wheel of Time, the very first scene starts out in the White Cloak camp. And that did not happen in the book. It was a difference. But they did it, I believe they did it because of them, you know, trying to cut down things and trying to make it the cohesion of the story the same, but still have some of the things that they wanted to bring from the book to the show without the elongation of it. So, you know, and that, which brings me back to some of the things they did and some of the things they didn't. And saying that, we were introduced to some new characters in this episode. One of them being a guy who was in, you know, the next 10 chapters by the name of Jeffrey Bornhold.
Mm-hmm.
He was in it, and we also brought someone who was not in it, in Eamon Valda. And this whole scene right here with the White Cloaks, which had another scene later in the same episode 2, they did a lot of differences in this and changes that they did not do in the book.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
One of the foremost ones. Well, let me ask you 2 questions to that point, Jansen. It starts off with Eamon Valda. He has a woman tied to a stake that is burning alive. She is an Aes Sedai. Her hands have been cut off.
Yes, they have.
The insinuation is that either the hands or the ring is needed in order to use the one power. And we see Moiraine do funky finger stuff, and I wonder, in the books, could someone with no hands channel?
This is funny that you say this, because I actually I know some part of this. This goes back to the prequel, The New Spring. And Egwene is actually quoted saying, while she's studying for the testing to become an Aes Sedai, she says that none of these weaves work without the hand motion. You can do the weave, but if you don't do the hand motion, they just don't work. And they actually quoted her saying that in that book. So I think that he pulled that from there. And Cadsuane Sedai, who comes later in the series, actually says something of the same thing.
Interesting.
I thought that they. Oh, okay. Interesting. I thought it was the opposite, that someone came in later and said, "No, you wait." But the Forsaken don't use their hands.
I know, and you know who else doesn't? The Aiel. And if we also remember, Soralia was quoted to Cadsuane, "You Aes Sedai with your hand gestures and everything are all But Moiraine also says that she was told in the White Tower, as an accepted, that it had something to do with the mental pathways that they have learned by.
Okay, so that's some of the mental pathways that you learn by. Okay,
yes, she said that in New Spring, and I believe that was right when we first meet Morel, and she starts messing with her with ice in the White Tower, right before they went out to start finding out who all the women who had babies were.
Okay, so this is just yet again another example of how this age is doing everything wrong. Like Tarvalon is like destined for failure. The strictures that they put upon themselves and the dint of history is like pushing them towards failure. And this is just one of them. Like, why cap yourselves in that way? Why accept that limitation? It seems like something that all you have to do is travel a little bit and find exceptions to it. Yeah, it's fascinating.
And also, we talked about the White Cloak camp. So we were also talking about the new characters that have been, we've been introduced to. Now there are 2 major characters right now in the second episode that they left out from the book, and these 2 characters were. Now we may see them at another point. It's definitely possible that they can be written in, but we did not see Jared Byer.
And no child.
I believe that Valda took his place. And also with that, we also saw that Eamon Valda from the book was deranked in the show. He's not a Lord's Captain. He is one of the questioners. And if you notice it, now it took me 3 times to watch it to actually get this, but if you notice, he calls Jeffrey Bornhold Sir. He defers to him, but he still has a little bit of power. So maybe that's in the bylaws for questioners. We don't know that yet. We haven't learned what they're doing as far as the structure of the White Cloaks in the show.
On their left shoulder, the White Cloaks have this kind of raised fin armor.
The gauntlet.
And Jeffrey Barn. I thought gauntlets were a hand thing.
Well, it goes all the way down to the hand.
Oh, okay. Okay, so it looks like it protects his like jugular kind of from a. Yeah. Anyways, Jeffrey Bornhold's it was gold.
Yes.
Well, Eamon Valdez was silver.
Yes.
And there were other silver ones. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
And I want to say that I liked how they kept, how they hinted very subtly and very quickly at the tension between the questioners and.
Yes, I did like that too. And they did it very subtly too, and that's how it would work. You know, they're not going to step on anybody's toes in public. Mm-hmm. But I can't wait to see a POV from one of the White Cloaks and how they react towards their brethren. You know what I mean?
Were you surprised when he basically gave Moraine advice to go seek out an Aes Sedai to get healed right in front of Eamon Valda? Like, I thought either that's him pulling rank, like I'm so powerful you can't address that, otherwise that would make him seem like he's complicit. Right, like that seemed like such a risky thing for him to do.
Yeah,
right in front of him.
I thought about that a lot, but I also thought about what they did in the book, as far as how the White Cloaks dealt with the Aes Sedai, and there were times, specifically even with the Aiel War, where they went to help them. You know, they never ever understood. Like, and that's actually another quote from, or another thing that happened in New Spring was they never understood why the White Cloaks showed up to help defend the Shining Walls. In fact, it was mentioned twice. Why were they there? And we don't know. But we also know that they know. I mean, the White Cloaks are very knowledgeable in the book and in the series. They're not. I mean, they are definitely thugs. They're definitely radicals, and some fanatics, and some naive to certain social things that happen in the world. But they know about the world. They believe in Trollocs. They believe in all the other things that have happened up to this point. But they do believe that if you choose to wield the one power, you're a dark friend.
Yeah.
But they also know that they can heal. So
it's fascinating. And to that point, they did. How do we know that they know about Trollocs? Because he said she mentioned the monsters, and he said, "Oh, up by the Blight."
Yeah, but was this in the Borderlands?
In the Borderlands, she said no. Yeah,
no, west of here. And what was the town called? It's a Terran Ferry. That was a little Aes Sedai.
She didn't say that. No, she didn't say a name. She said
Terran
what
Ferry.
village? She said Terran Ferry.
She said
Terran Ferry. And she said there were many hurt people there.
I've got a pretty photographic memory.
She did say. Yeah.
Well, why would she? How can she? Okay.
Because they were coming from Terran Ferry. But they're not going to say we started out in the Two Rivers. We were coming from Terran Ferry. Okay. There were many people hurt there. That's what she said. Yes, that's what she said.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what she said.
All right. I mean, I'll look that shit up.
Chest bump.
All right.
Do you think we're going to see a kinder, gentler Jeffrey Bornhold? The book Bornhold would never have said, "Hey, go find an Aes Sedai to fix that."
I don't think he would have said that, but if you do remember how they described Jeffrey Bornhold was as a grandfatherly person, and if we go through his POVs from the books, he was a White Cloak. He was a man born in Amadicia, and he grew up being an Amadician. So yeah, he believed that touching the one power was wrong. But he did believe in the right thing as well. He tried to do the right thing, I believe, through all of the books. I don't think that he was an inherently evil. And they even say, the Aes Sedai say it more than once, the White Cloaks are not dark friends. At least the majority of them. They may be confused.
Right, exactly. And don't get me wrong, I have gone on the record that I am Team White Cloak. I think the White Cloaks were right. 20 to 25% of the Aes Sedai were Black Aja. They had every right to think that these women were working with the Dark One and doing bad stuff, and they were right. So, you know, I don't say I'm Team Valda necessarily, but I think the White Cloaks have the right idea. They're up and comers.
Okay. So there's also one thing we haven't talked about yet, which I did want to talk about first, but because the White Cloaks were the very first scene in episode 2, I thought it would change. I was okay with that. But there is one fundamental change. I think this may be one of the biggest changes that they've done in the series that they've done in the book. Now, that is the 3 oaths and why they're there. Now, from the book, we get the sense that the 3 oaths were made somewhere around the time when they were building Tar Valon, when they were building Tar Valon, and when the Aes Sedai finally found a place after the breaking to start building, and they started restructuring their entire system. The 3 oaths came, and all those things. But however, in the show, they specifically state that the 3 oaths were an agreement made with Archer Hawkwing to stop the besiege of Tar Valon.
I was under the impression in the books that it was a way for the Aes Sedai to regain trust with the rest of Ranland, because guess what? Aes Sedai did use the one power to destroy the world. It just so happened to be the males. So the women said, okay, hey, listen, we're still Aes Sedai, we're still cool, and we promise, pinky promise. And, you know, hence the 3 oaths.
Yeah, and I think that Rafe Judkins did a good job with this, because we were never given a true reason why they had the 3 oaths, other than later on in the books they described that the 3 oaths, some Aes Sedai believe that the 3 oaths are what make them Aes Sedai, and that's later on in the books where that is described from certain POVs as that. But I think that them having it as a specific thing like this makes it so everybody would know why. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Everybody in the series, everybody in Ranland, everybody in all the cities, they understand why they made this agreement, and now we can trust them because our king believed them and left them alone after this. I thought it was actually done well. And now I know I'm going to get a lot of flack from people for saying that, because I've already heard people very upset about it. But again, you have to consider that they're trying to turn a vast amount of text into a 1 hour. Actually, it's 47 minutes that you can watch on a weekly basis and actually understand. So in order to do that, you have to take those shortcuts. And I think that the ones that he did are fantastic. And it's funny because I actually spent the day yesterday reading all of the bad things, supposedly from fans, book readers. And what I got from it was most of these people, in fact, probably 99% of these people, don't work in the movie industry or the film industry or the television industry, and they don't know what it takes to turn something like that into a viable show that people are going to want to watch every week. Not just the people like them who have read it, but all the people who are being introduced to a brand new show that they've never even knew was a book.
Yeah.
You know, so
this is helpful, Jansen. The amount of vitriol that came out after each episode was shocking.
Yeah,
and it was polarizing, and everyone online seemed to faction off into camps.
Yep.
Well, one of the things I jumped the gun on episode 1, I was like, "What? No wheat for Manethrin speech? Come on!" I was kicking rocks. I'm like, "Come on!" They put it in the second episode
in a song too, which was great.
Right, and Rand seemed to embody the fear and suspicion and anger of the town itself. So when he's like, "Did you bring in, sir?" He wrapped up 20 pages in that one dialogue that he has with Moiraine.
And Brother Dan, you just segued us into another thing
Look
that I
at me.
love you for doing right now. I think it's awesome because, yes, like, they had to do that with Rand and talk about, did you put this in our dreams? Now, if you remember, that's another change. Moiraine didn't find out that they were all having the same dreams until after Shadar Logoth and after they had been split up and got back together. So she found out about that very early. And that was another change that they put into
These boys are verbose instead of hiding things.
Yeah,
they go ahead and just I saw bats. I saw a guy with red ember eyes.
And that's because they can't do as many POVs through film or television as they can in a book.
Mm-hmm.
So they had to consolidate that way. And I thought it was brilliantly done. And it also gave us a way to jumpstart or jump over a lot of the things, the mundane things that happen in the book that you have to read about to understand, to grow with. So they got rid of that quick. And I think it was appropriately done. I thought they did it right. They have to do those things for a show.
Jansen, there was one. Oh, go ahead, Ryan.
I was going to say, how about how do you all feel about Rand confronting Moiraine like he did? That is a huge change.
I think it's a change, but I also think that they mentioned that in the book. Remember when Moiraine said in the Eye of the World, "You should have been ready to follow me from at the first step." That's one of the clues that gave her in the book. It's one of the clues that told her that Rand was the Dragon Reborn, because everyone else followed her in lockstep to do whatever she wanted once she gave them their coins. And she told Rand, you should have been following me for the beginning, but you still questioned me. You still were stubborn, and it was still hard to fight you. So they did mention it a little bit in the Eye of the World. They did.
It was during this scene, I believe, that Rand issued a major change to what I believe. He mentions, it's kind of a throwaway line. He's like, yeah, they say that the Dragon Reborn broke the world and will be, or the dragon broke the world and will be reborn to save the world.
Yes, they did say that.
I'm not sure if that's Book Rand's interpretation of the dragon's role. And that's when Moiraine steps out and goes, forget everything you heard. He or she.
Well, she said it'll be all of it and more, right?
Yeah.
Right. But she initially says, forget everything you've heard about the Dragon Reborn.
Yeah. And they do go over kind of things like that, because there's an instance in the Eye of the World where the boys are talking about it, and then Matt starts laughing and say, some people don't even believe in the Dark One. I told old Billy to say him, and he mentioned Shaitan. Mm-hmm. And then Nynaeve breaks him up and starts talking about, like, you shouldn't be talking about that, things like that. So they're trying different ways to hit the same spots that they hit in the book. And I think they're doing it. Like, I just think that a lot of the people who read the book wanted, first of all, we cannot have 100 episodes of a TV show, which is what they wanted on streaming. Mm-hmm. And they can't do that, believe me, if I was Elon Musk and I had the money to do it, there'd be 10 more episodes a season on this show.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But you have to work in the constraints that they have.
And each episode 2 hours long.
Yeah, that's exactly what I would do. And there's so many more small little things that they did that I'm looking at right now that we haven't even got to yet. Because in that 10 chapters, after the Road to Terran Ferry, there's a lot of things that happen. And one person that they do take away, and I do 100% believe he will be in the next. In fact, not 100%, I understand that he will be, is Elias Machera will be in the next season. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people out there I've read that said, well, how can Perrin find the wolves without finding Elias? Well, Perrin doesn't need Elias to find the wolves.
No, they found him and licked him up.
Exactly. And that's
that horse named Antiseptic and Neosporin.
And I believe, this is just a personal belief of mine, I believe the lead wolf that licked Perrin's wound, I believe that's Hopper.
It's gotta be.
Yeah, it probably is. Yeah.
I believe that's Hopper.
Please make it
and
Hopper.
that's him marking him as, all right, I'm your spirit guide.
He's one of us. I think that's when he became one of us.
So, as we continue to dive into changes, just want to thank everyone for listening and watching. Please consider subscribing and liking and all that stuff. We're having a great time going through. We're going to be going through each episode. This will be the next 6 weeks. You have appointment television. Do not miss. But I wanted to get into this. So, when Rand first channels in the Eye of the World, right? He channels into Bella, basically.
Who?
To help Egwin. Yeah. Channels into Bella to help Egwin.
The other character who wasn't there.
Yeah, wait, is Bella not in
Oh,
this?
no, Bella is there. Yes,
there.
no, because when they approach Shadow Logoth and the horses start bucking and freaking out, Egwin goes, "Oh, easy, Bella, easy. What's wrong?"
Yeah, no, Bella's there.
Oh, that's right.
No. So what? One of the ways that Moiraine susses out what's going on with Rand is that she was healing the horses when they're in that fog world, and she's healing the horses, and Bella didn't need healing, and she was kicking herself later, saying, "I should have known then that something had happened." Right now, it was a very interesting choice. They showed her heal one horse, and I was thinking, "Oh my God, here it comes!" And then she goes to the next horse, and then Lan interrupts her and says, "Hey, you need to keep your strength." And then they walk
That would have
away.
been great, Ryan, if she's like, "Huh, this horse is strangely not tired at all."
So what do you think of that change? Are they trying to say that the first time Rand channels is to escape the lovely Dana?
To blow
What I think, I do believe. Well, also you have to remember also that when Moiraine left the Two Rivers with everyone in the book, she wasn't wounded.
No.
She hadn't taken a Trolloc blade, and they had to use that to introduce the Aes Sedai to the fans, because she had to be healed, and there was a lot of like little small things in there that they use, but that's in episode 3, obviously. But they did a lot of little differences to make that have to happen. And I don't. So, did Bella die? I don't remember.
No, it was a different horse. I thought it may have been Bella that died in Shadow Logoth. There was just one horse that dies. 3 of them runs away, and Mashadar ignores Aldib and Mandarb.
Somehow.
Just doesn't.
Well, no, I noticed that too. No, they actually show Lan and Moiraine go to those 2 horses right before they leave Shadow Logoth.
And they're sitting there nice and calm.
Yeah.
So what was the horse's name? There was only one other horse's name when they left. Red? Was it Red that died?
Well, it was a black horse.
Okay, because Red was the horse that ran.
It wasn't red.
Yeah,
it was black.
It was black.
Okay.
Anyways. You dummy.
All right. Apparently, we started something. Here you guys go.
Yeah, do it.
Bella!
Roar.
Yep.
Are you ready?
Guys, we need to pour one out for Master Hightower.
Yes, he was. Now, what I do like is that Hightower was in the series, because he was in the book. And what was the joke that Matt made? Oh, bet he's never even seen a Hightower. And then Rand shushed him. That was the joke he made. But Master Hightower didn't die in the book, as far as we know.
No, we gave him a whole bunch of coin, and he went off.
He effed off.
He
Yeah.
ran off into the fog, being followed by his gangly helpers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I hear he went big into Bitcoin. Yeah,
that's what I heard too. Yeah.
So,
He has a cannabis shop called High Tower.
Okay.
love that. That's hilarious.
And he's the man in the high tower.
Yeah.
Now, we also have to talk about the most missing character through all of this.
Tom.
Tom and Nynaeve.
Oh yeah.
Right.
She was busy.
Yeah, Tom and Nynaeve. So, Tom is I think Tom is essential to this entire story. But I don't think Tom is essential to the first book. So, I don't think Tom really got really important until maybe book 3. I think in book 3 is when he got very, very important. With the exception of a few of his actions in book 2. Because one of his actions literally starts an entire revolution. So
all of that is true, but the magical moment when Tom is talking about Merc and Merkins and
Merc, yeah,
and Mosque and Merc and worlds that have come and worlds that come before and worlds that haven't come yet. Like all of that was to the reader just the most mind-blowing thing. Although we did get the prologue. As a reader, we did get the prologue, which did give that kind of expansive, like, what the F feeling.
Yes.
But he really, I missed that, right? And I
do, and that is the Gandalf part of, the Wheel of Time that we had in the book. We had that old sage type person who could speak with mysticism and speak because he was a gleeman. And his voice oritated everywhere,
okay.
Exactly. Rand wouldn't be able to juggle or play.
All right, see, Jansen, the chat is lashing out at you right now. they said Tom is essential because he did teach him how to play the flute.
Well, and he does save him from the fade. That's where he gets his limp. He saves him, I would say, more than a few times on the road itself, just because these kids still have hay in their hair. And,
Alvin Bunch saved him too, but he doesn't make him a major character. I got a question, Dan. Jansen and I were talking about the road to Terran Ferry and the moment on the bridge when Moraine chuckles at Tom. When he brandishes his blades. Did she fall in love with him? Is that the moment she fell in love with him? I claim that was the moment she fell in love with him. Which makes him way more important than Jansen's given him credit for.
But they cut that from the show, so
we're talking differences.
Right now. Oh, okay. It could very well be. I never really caught on the Moraine Tom love affair besides him saying she's a very impressive woman while knuckling his mustache.
Sniffing
his fingers.
See, I think that it's very possible that they're going to change this in the series as well. I believe when Tom and Moraine, now this is just speculation, but I believe when Tom and Moraine see each other in the series for the first time through our eyes, they will already have known each other
carnally.
That's what I think.
Biblically, Dan, brother Dan, biblically have already. Do you know what that means? They'll have already done the truffle shuffle.
Well, This is the thing. Tom is a guy in the books, a guy with a storied past. They're going to keep that. I just think they're going to do it differently. They've already done a little bit of it differently. He's a lot darker in the show than he is in the books. And he is a little more serious in the show than he is in the books.
Do you think he's more on the run? Do you think he's on the run, and that's why he doesn't have a brandished Gleeman's cloak?
Gareth Bryn is actively chasing him.
I believe that that's true, yes. But I also think that he did something in the series that I'm not sure he would have done in the book. I don't see Tom burying a random Aiel just to give him a proper burial in the book.
Yeah.
I don't see him doing that. So he has more purpose, I believe, than and at least at first, he has more of a sense of honor than he did when we first met him in the books.
Yeah, I mean, he could have possibly just hid throughout all of Winter's Night. We don't know.
Exactly.
He could have been in that hayloft.
But they were true with him being a mentor, because even though during this he was still mentoring Matt, it was like, if you're going to take from the dead, you might as well, the least you can do is bury him, like he's still guiding the boys still through some things. He's still helping them. He's still that quasi father figure, I guess, but the figure who is more knowledgeable than them, kind of like not a father, but an older uncle. And he actually latches onto them, not the other way around.
Correct.
Which
because of Owen.
Yes, because of Owen. So I like that. I like that as the Owen aspect. I do like that. It ties Tom to the reason why he's there, and the reason why he wants to help boys that of a certain age.
Well, now, two things. One, do you think Tom knew about Dana?
Yeah, how long was he in that town?
I don't think so. I think that he found out about Dana as soon as she said it, because he said, "You heard what she said, boy. She's a dark friend."
Well, yeah. She heard. So she said a lot, and if we assume that he heard everything, he knows that they're integral somehow to something bigger.
That is very, very awesome for you to say that. That is something I missed. You're absolutely correct.
Yeah. But we'll talk about that when Dana shows up actually on the screen, though. And we'll have a lot to talk about then. Yeah.
And that coincides with a ton of things from the book, because Tom did know a lot that he wasn't saying throughout the entire series, all the way to the end.
Mm-hmm. No, yeah, it's great. I love how they did that. Okay, back to episode 2.
Back to the episode.
Back to episode 2.
Jensen's notes.
Okay, so we have gotten to Shadar Logoth. And this is really one of the first times we actually hear translations from the old tongue, because Shadar Logoth is translated to Shadows Waiting, which is what they turned the city to, which used to be Eridhall, which was a friend of Manetheren, an ally of Manetheren, and coming to Shadar Logoth, there is another character that we are missing that they have not showed yet. And that is Mordith.
Yes, I was going to say, was Mordith there, or was that Pattern Fane?
So Mordith was in Shadar Logoth in the books.
Uh-huh.
But in the show, we didn't see him.
But we see like a shadow moving that looked like a human form.
We did, but I believe that was Mashadar.
Okay.
I believe that was Mashadar. Unless they're going to do some backflash of Pattern Fane, meeting some random stranger there or something. Because there is a lot of things that we have not, that they're not explaining about Pattern Fane right now. Like, and I'm not going to get into it yet, but there are things that they're not explaining, how he was able to do certain things. So it's possible that he met Mordith in Shadar Logoth, but they never mention him. And I found that interesting that, okay, even if he's not there, not even interaction between Lan and Moraine said, but what of Mordith? What of this? All she said to him was, it's too dangerous.
Okay, yeah. So this is the chat's got my back here. Yeah, I think it was Fane. There was the Fane patented whistle.
That's the only indication that it was Pattern Fane, though, was that whistle.
But but there was also like Matt was following a figure like moving in the shadows, and that was clear. His attention was grabbed by something moving. He wasn't just wandering around like a weirdo. Yes. He's like, "Oh, what was that?"
Something did bring him to that. You're right. Something did bring him to that. You're correct.
The whistles. Yeah. So I was assuming it was Pattern Fane the whole time.
So let me ask you, Jansen, I don't remember in this episode if it came up during the training. In this show world, is channeling still dangerous for young women? In the book, I believe it's 3 out of every 4 may die if they are not properly guided in the ways of the use of the one power. So they don't burn themselves out. Or they...
Well, that's
Is there
something
danger
that we really...
here?
Well, there is, but I mean, I think that it's something that they haven't really grasped upon, like because you saying that also brings me another change that they did. There was the scene in the book where Moraine had to literally convince Nynaeve that she could channel. And that was called Listen to the Wind. I believe that was what the chapter was called. Listen to the Wind. And that was right after Shadow Logoth. And we have not got that.
No.
So, but Nynaeve knows she can channel. And it's like, we get Nynaeve talking to Moraine in the Two Rivers, telling her, I know about wisdoms, and wisdoms can channel because the wisdom that taught me went to Tarvalin. So, they have knowledge that they didn't have already in the series that they didn't have in the books. Nynaeve, if you would have told her that she could channel when you were sitting in the Two Rivers, she would have hit you with that stick.
Right.
So yes. I believe Nynaeve knows that she can channel from the beginning. I think that I think everyone knows. And that's another thing. I keep bringing all these changes up, but that's another thing. One difference and this is specifically with production of how you make a show and what you can and can't do. One of the big things in the books is some people who know them can notice an Aes Sedai by her face. The ageless face. Now, it would have cost an incredible amount of money for them to do that on the show. To have every Aes Sedai have this special halo. And I think that the way that they changed that, because they still made it so some people can still understand and see who and what an Aes Sedai is with their rings. Now, I think they made their rings, they elaborated on the rings on the show so people could do that, and they specifically showed it with Maren Alvear. When she saw the ring, she said, of course, Moraine Sedai. And that was, she noticed it, but a lot of other people didn't. And that was how they had to change that, because they weren't going to give every woman from the White Tower some weird, green screen halo that they would have had to pay another $1 million to do.
It is interesting though, because when they encounter the White Cloak, she handed her ring to Lan and can hide it. So this idea that an Aes Sedai could hide themselves effectively without having to use the one power is a wrinkle, right? That's a new wrinkle.
It's different.
Ageless face, and you said wrinkle.
Like
Yeah, they don't have to use the Mask of Mirrors for that, even though we didn't hear about the Mask of Mirrors till later, but still.
I want to bring up this point. Jansen, I don't know if you picked this up. I'd love to know where in the books, but there's a point in the book that Tom says he almost got stuck in a mining town in the mountains for the winter, which is where we found him, in a mining town in the mountains.
What?
And it's winter. We see that. Watch Jansen's Rolodex. Jansen's Rolodex. Watch it go. He's going through one book at a time.
But they also. So, are you saying that Tom was in the mining town before he was in the Two Rivers? Because we also have. So, then how did he? I thought he was in Baerlon. Because we have two instances when he gets back to Baerlon. Remember, the guy at the gate says, "I remember you going through here a couple weeks back, Gleeman. They didn't like your tricks down country." So,
no, he's saying he's almost like talking about this might be an offhand reference. Like I'm once, like not like I don't think it's saying I've.
Okay. Huh.
Yeah, I don't know if it's saying on the way to the Two Rivers.
I got to figure that out. Yeah, I don't remember that. Huh. Okay, I gotta look that
No,
up.
he said it was the other choice he had. This is almost like a choose your own adventure. What? I don't know. What is that about?
Yeah, I don't know what that's about.
What are you referencing?
Lee, I gotta figure out.
Lee Science. I can't not see your name and think that.
Let me ask you: is this another change? There is a time in this second episode when They're all sleeping in a circle around the fire. Egwene hears something either externally or internally. She gets up with a start. She looks up. Boom. There's a Fade. And by the way, the Fade's horse has the skull of another horse's armor. How awesome is that, right?
Yes, it does. That was cool. I did notice that.
Can Lan not sense Dark Shadow Spawn? He in the first episode, it says that he tracked. He went and he saw, and he's like, "Yeah, there's 300 more." Or
yeah, they did show him tracking. They didn't mention anything about sensing.
Yeah, and that's when they found like all those dead carcasses arranged.
Yeah, the sheet. Yeah,
and then the teardrop.
Do you think that that's been taken away from Lan? That power?
I think it has. I think that it makes it easier for them in the show to not have as many things going on. I mean, they even did this in the books. There were a couple things written out of the book that were too much. You know what I mean? For instance, and
Oh yeah, no, I was gonna say tracking those you heal.
Tracking those you heal. Oh,
that
that's
never returns.
The coins.
The coins also that's because they head out together from the beginning.
The GPS coins.
Also, one thing we don't get is, which they took out of the series, so I didn't expect to see it, was in the first 3 books, when a man started channeling, his skin started rotting.
Oh.
In the book. And that was something that they slowly wrote out of the series.
I don't remember that.
What?
Yeah.
Oh no! I thought after many uses of the tainted, thought that's what happened. Like that's because when we go to the flicker, remember we have he was losing fingers and shit.
That, and but no, it was one of the scary parts of men channeling was to see your skin rot away.
They also did not include the channel get sick. And then the next time you channel, the sickness is closer, and then the next time you channel, it's closer to the right. Like they didn't, that whole way that Moraine sussed out Nynaeve. She said, "Hey, let me guess, you did this and you got sick, right?" And then she walked Nynaeve through her own sicknesses, and that's how she was able to suss out. And then we see that in Eye of the World, Rand has these unusual behavior points, and he gets super sick. And if you could see how he channeled it 3 times without him knowing, right? Am I correct? Okay, yeah. So that all is not happening, which is kind of a bummer, but
yeah, it's
almost too much to.
It's too much. It's also money, and how do you with some of these aspects, these little changes that we think are small, you're talking about like an extra $1 million change to a show. Because of how you get everybody to go, like it's tough. I mean, I can't imagine what it would be like to actually pull that off. And with, like I said, with the constraints they had, it's not like he had the 400 million that they had for the Lord of the Rings. It's I wish he did, because I think that this they could always put more money into it for different things that they could pull out of the show. But working with the money they had, with the COVID problem that they had, I think he did a fantastic job trying to show us exactly what Robert Jordan was trying to show us, with a different, venue. So I like the changes. I mean, I do there's so many changes, but I mean, even when they got to Terran Ferry, that big scene with all the Trollocs and the Fade that we actually get to see really good for the first time. Mm-hmm. That was different. That never happened in the book. Mm-hmm. They never got to see him face to face. In fact, one of the things that happened on the road to Terran Ferry, and I believe this is why they showed that at Terran Ferry, is Rand saw his second shadow spawn for the first time, and that was a Drakkar. And he saw it when he was, riding behind everyone, told him what it was, and then Moraine hid them in fog.
That's right.
And they didn't show
That's right.
Yeah, they never showed that. And
I wonder if we're gonna get a Drakkar. Those are, besides smelling fantastic, they that's just a character that I guess computer generated wise it may not be as much, but I imagine that is a specific that would be kind of easy to just snip away.
Yeah, I do believe that we're going to get a Drakkar. I think that they showed up so many times in the book, so many times, that I think they're going to have something like that, because they're you have to consider the ones. There's at least 4 or 5 different kinds of shadow spawn we have not seen yet, of course, on the series, and one. There's 6 or 7, but we haven't seen those yet. And I know that there is a big buzz online about people talking about the ones that won't show up and the ones that will. And Agenor made a lot of funky shit.
Yeah, so let's go through a quick list. Yes or no, do you think? Do you think we are going to see a Golem?
Yes.
Do you think we're going to see a Gray Man?
Yes.
You said yes to Drakkar. We have seen Trollocs and Fades. Do you think we are going to see a Hellhound?
Yes. We have to. That's the only... If we don't, then Piran's entire arc changes.
Yeah. I gotta say, those wolves, when Hopper walked up, I was like, I could beat up a wolf. That just looked like a... That's not that bad. I could beat up a wolf. Maybe not 8 of them, but I could take one.
All right, this just in. Those were not wolves. Wolves can be twice the size of that, Dan. All right, so Luke A's Jedi said, I think someone said that Rafe specifically mentioned Drakkar. So yeah, someone said that someone overheard Rafe might have said that.
Yeah,
right.
I don't believe we'll see a Zamara, or I guess in Rand's time, they called worms. I don't think we will see that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't.
How about a Golem? Or no, the
what do you call it in your time?
3-eyed one. Yeah. What's the 3-eyed Shanshin? The Grom.
The Grom. Yes, we will, because we saw them on their ship.
Yes, you saw the ship mask.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, we saw them on their ship, which I thought in fact, I caught that very quickly, and I thought that was extremely cool that they had that. They paid attention to that detail. I like that,
brother Dan.
Yeah.
You can't fight a wolf.
I'm just saying, if I got a leg wound and one little baby wolf comes up and licks my wound, I can kick it in the throat.
All right, so
how about Rockin' or Toe Rockin'? What Rockin'?
I do think we will see Rockin'. I think with the Shanshin, I think that they're animals and are so much a part of them that. I mean, if you think about it, without the Shanshin animals in the book, they're pretty dull. They're just North Koreans, Literally, it's just like North Korea coming out, basically. But
North Koreans would be way awesome if they rode pterodactyls or shit like that.
Exactly, and had grown and slave magicians. It'd be insane.
All right. No offense to any North Koreans who might be watching.
No offense.
Yeah.
They don't get internet there.
We only mock governments, not peoples.
Yeah.
Power structures should all be abolished all over the world. We'd all figure out how to grow mushrooms and feed ourselves.
Right, just step on that soapbox.
I do like the fact that if I get up early in the morning and I need a quick cup, I got to go to Shanshan to get it. But I like that. They've got the coffee over there.
The smell is almost as good as the taste.
Yes. Senai's Mountains blend. The good stuff.
Ooh, Senai's.
All right, which Forsaken's going to get nixed?
Oh, Ijaz Mountains, sorry. Which Forsaken are we going to see first?
No, which ones are going to get nixed? Are we not? I guess we're seeing not.
Oh,
seen.
yeah.
Who do you think are not going to be seen?
I believe that we will not see... I think Mogideon might be gone. I think also I'm pretty sure that I think that Bilal / what's her name? I think they're going
Sangar
to be
or Asangar.
Asangar. I think that they're going to be gone, and I don't see a place for Agenor either.
Yeah,
I don't see Asangar and Erengar there. I don't see. Actually, you know what? I do see Mogideon there. She has she helps Nynaeve's story arc so much. I have to believe that she's going to be there. I think Grindal and Sam Ale are very, very intricate to a lot of the story arc. And I do think we're going to have to see. They're going to merge some of them. So I believe that. I do believe that you have to have Asmodean, unless Rand somehow gets, Loghain to teach him, which I don't see that happening.
That seems more plausible to me than for sure. I think the changes are going to be vast. I think I was surprised they're actually going to keep as many Forsaken.
I believe that the Mahale and that Demon Dread are going to be merged.
I can see that too. Yeah. I don't think we're going to see Forsaken Rebirth, and if we do, it will be one at most.
Okay, I was going to bring that up, Dan. Yep. I don't think there's going to be any at all. I think that's.
No, I mean, if we do, it'll have to be Elon / Ishmael / Balzaman / Morden. I think it will have to be him because I do believe. Yeah, I think it'll have to be him because he is huge to the story arc of Rand, and he is also the most powerful dreamer in the entire series. So, I definitely believe that he will be there.
Do you think we'll have Slayer?
Ooh, that's a really good question.
That fight scene on screen could be the coolest Marvel shit you would see in a Wheel of Time book.
Yes.
Hell yes. That one and Matt with the Golem too would be awesome. You can just see the Ashendari smoke on each end going like hurling around. I mean, I could just, and that's actually the maddest we see Matt get in the whole series. So.
But like Perrin and Slayer is almost like a Dragon Ball Z. They're flying from mountaintop to mountaintop. Yeah, just
all right.
Nuts. I mean, nuts. So turning into a wolf out of it, like it'd be insane with the hammer and the jaws. I mean, it'd be so. And they're gonna have to do that.
So, Jansen, how do you predict they're gonna handle the dream world? Like how? What do you think they're going to do? I think we've seen a little bit how they're going to do that already. With the dreams, there's some specific ones too, like what we see Perrin and his wife who he killed in his dream. I think we're going to see it. Those dream sequences are going to look a lot like that. That's what I think, because we're going to see Egwene in so many of them. In fact, Teleran Riyadh it's half the book. Yeah, there's more things that are connected with Teleran Riyadh in the book than there's not. From the testing of the Aes Sedai to the ways to everything. Everything.
Yeah, man, you bring up a large point right there as far as just how vast Teleran Riyadh could be. The ways is skimming in Teleran Riyadh or on that plane where Egwene is floating and seeing all the stars in the windows and stuff there's so many different levels to this that why isn't Portal Stones or the Ways or these Terangrial themselves why isn't the Aelfin and Eowfin except for the Tower of Genji? It seems like it's almost like in a Teleran Riyadh like spot of I don't know, it's weird.
Really? I don't think the Aelfin and Eowfin are in like a Teleran Riyadh-ish world at all. I think never thought that ever.
They're in Sindal. That's the name of the place.
It's
called the tower.
No, they're not necessarily in the tower. Like, wait, who's in the tower? Like the Eowfin.
Tower of Genji takes you to Sindal. Because remember, that's where they were, and that's where they changed Lanfear's name to Sindane.
Okay, Okay, there's
And,
like reply all, and then back in the day, it used to be send all.
Yeah, it's send all. Yeah.
Click. All right. Let's get back to this question from chat. Do we think we'll see Masana?
I think that you know what I think they're going to do? I believe that you're going to hear about the other Forsaken, but not see them. Like, there's so many stories that they go back. Now, they're going to probably take a lot of those stories out, but you need the Forsaken and the terror that they, lashed out and unleashed on the world in the previous age. Because it's just like, what I was talking about before. These are the people and the entities that mothers and grandmothers scared their children in bedtime stories with, and will always be fearful of them. This was, and a lot of things like that in the Wheel of Time have a lot of relevance. That especially the things in the stories that have lasted through the years. Even the Snakes and Foxes game, has a lot of significance.
Yep.
From the things that people are remembering. So.
Yep.
The chat here thinks that Masana it may get blended in. Mandarb, it's good to see you. It's been a while. A Landfear Masana blending. We have a Mogideon Masana merge.
Definitely possible. Because of the way that
I agree with that.
Yeah,
I
definitely.
think Masana can be merged.
I do too. I think that definitely can be merged. And I mean, Sam Hale and Demon Dread can be merged easily. Because of the hatred that Demon Dread has, it's easy that Luce Theron could have just put the scar on his face.
Yep.
I don't think we're going to see Shara. I honestly don't think we're going to have a Forsaken just show up at the last second and be like, here's my army. Ha 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 ha.
I mean, I actually think that they're going to have to show Shara because of the structure of the Wheel of Time. Everything has an opposite or a counter in the show. I mean, in the book. And Sharans, they countered, the Shanshan. The Aiel countered the Sea Folk. There's a yin and yang to everything, and opposite. Everything has its like doppelganger. And I believe that they did that because of that reason. Even going down to the very end of the book, they did it. So I think that, I do believe that. I think that all the races and all of the different countries that they had will be there, with the exception of possibly that one country that's really close to Andor. And I don't believe we're going to get that ruler. What's his name? King Roydren? No, not Galdon. We're going to get Galdon. But Roydren was the king of...
what is that place? I know you're talking about Saladar?
No, not Saladar. The king of Mirandi.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
that place. It's not even a country.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, exactly. And they even say that in the book. Yeah, they say Lugard.
Yeah,
Lugard. Yeah. And they even say that. They call themselves what? They don't even call themselves Andorans or Lugardians. They call themselves, what is it? Inishlinny or something like that, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what they call them.
So
they're just unincorporated, lawlessness.
Yeah.
All right. So, well, hey, let's real quick. Let's pivot to a question from chat. This is a great one. What is your favorite moment of the episode? Which is on my list of questions I was going to ask the group. So if you want to answer that, mine is the moment when Matt and Perrin are sitting and having their chat in Shadow Logoth before all hell breaks loose.
That's a good one.
Matt is fantastic in this relationship structure. What we've seen from Matt so far is he is the one who goes to Perrin when he's carrying Layla. He's the one that helps Tam off of the horse when Rand pulls up and Tam's all weeded out. He's the one who sits and checks with Perrin. He's the one who actually gets Rand and Perrin. He's like, well, she throws fireballs, so I'm going to hang out with her. Come on. And it shakes everyone to follow. He has been integral to this whole thing. Yeah. in
Yeah,
keeping
I
them
do like-
sane and happy. Yeah, go ahead.
I do like what they're doing with this character. I do, and this is probably the only time you're going to hear me say I have a worry about something. I do have a worry that they're cornering and caging some of the characters to certain personalities that they're going to need to change later.
Mm-hmm.
Because right now Matt's pretty serious, Nynaeve's pretty serious. There are many, many times later on where these are the comic relief of the entire book.
Yeah.
So I'm interested to see how Rafe Judkins balances that. I know he can do it. I just would like to see. I can't wait to see how they do balance some of those things.
Matt probably has the best line comedy-wise in this.
He has the only comedic line
when he kind of ribs Lan and says,
Yeah.
"Wait a minute! All right, first of all, this is the most
Oh,
I think
that's
you've
a
said
wrinkle.
ever."
Oh, that's a new wrinkle. Isn't that what he says?
No. He goes, Lan we're there in Shadow Logoth. Lan is talking all about Shadow Logoth, and he goes, two things. First of all, I think that's the most you've ever said in your entire life.
Said, yes.
Or something.
All right. So what's your favorite moment, guys? Favorite moment?
My favorite moment is from two. Actually, okay, I know what it is because it helped me. It's with someone like people like us who are looking for certain parts to just to be gratified. I liked the way they did when Moraine explains to Egwene about the One Power in Aes Sedai. When she asks, when we find out that the Aes Sedai made a bargain with Archer Hawkwind, and those things, and when she says to Egwene, it's not you that listens to the wind; it's the wind that listens to you.
Right.
I thought that was a really cool moment in the show.
That's a great line.
Do you think everyone can see the weaves? Is that the implication we're getting from how they're doing it?
Well, considering what happens in the books later, I hope that they can. Right now, at least.
So everyone, like every commenter in Emmonsfield saw like Moraine's like whipping shit.
No, I don't think that. No, I think I don't. I think that is for our benefit as watching from the fourth wall. I think that that's for our benefit. I don't think that they can actually see the weaves. Like, I don't think that the King of Gildan saw the weaves around Loghain. I don't believe that he saw the taint or any of those things. I think that those are strictly for channelers and us being on the fourth wheel watching. I don't think that normal people can see.
Okay. Trying to remember what about this episode made me think that. Something about this episode made me question whether or not that's what they're trying to get at. Go on, Dad.
Was it when they were training?
Probably, yes.
Okay. Yeah. I was wondering if Egwene was seeing what she was like the weaves as well, or if she just
No,
saw
I think it was
things
on the
blowing
boat. Like on the boat, like when no, not on the boat, like on the ferry when they get across the ferry and then Moraine starts like doing the whirlpool. I was wondering if like it was very obvious that she did it
because I think it's like because from reading the books, we can mentally see the weaves, right?
Yes.
We can mentally see the weaves from us reading the book. I think they're trying to create the same thing. With
I can see that.
the show. Yeah, that's what I think they're trying to do.
My favorite scenes, I guess I have two. The very first cold open with Eamon Valda eating a funky ass bird and watching a woman burn set a tone.
I love that.
It set a tone that did not exist in the first episode, and I think it really. I loved how it was done. But I'm a simp, and my favorite overall scene was the song and the story of it, the monologue of Manetheren.
Uh-huh.
And Jansen, you should use that for an acting class. That is a monologue.
That is an excellent monologue. It really is a good monologue.
Yeah, I remember feeling uncomfortable with the knowledge that at this point, after watching 2 episodes, the 2 bad guys were African American.
Huh. Well, one thing that I know as an actor is usually the bad guy is one of the best accomplished actors on the show.
Oh, and that's proving out in this show already.
Yeah.
Yes,
and I don't have a problem with them being bad guys, especially with the fact that Perrin is now African American or black. Nobody's American on the show.
You're right about that. Yes,
at least in the Randland, they're not. They're from, the Third Age or the Fourth Age or whatever. But I don't have a problem with it. I actually, and these are also, you have to consider, these are also mini bosses.
Yeah, but it's such a risky thing. I just felt it was a risk for them to take because yes, obviously we meet like a Forsaken who's way more powerful and he's white. He looks like Mario, like a Luigi or Mario. Like that came out later. It's just that up to this point, I was like, wow, this is really the only bad guys we have examples of are the only and there's very few other like.
No, true, I get it, but you also have to consider the fact that Arthur Hawkwing is black. They have many things to prove that. Ishara, his descendant, was black. They even say that when Elaine's walking through the halls in Camelin and going back far, and they show Ashara and they talk about her black charcoal skin. Now, we also know that Tuon is black, and she is a direct descendant of Arthur Hawkwing. So there are at least 4 or 5 points that say that's one of the reasons why I still say Idris Elba should play Hawkwing. But that's
Beautiful.
just me.
Yeah.
That's just me. I think he'd be a perfect Hawkwing, actually. I think he'd be perfect. But I do believe that, race, even in Robert Jordan's eyes, played a big part in this. And we'll see a lot more with the Waste and some other things, like he did play that role. And when you see the Sea Folk, he's just the way that they described certain people make them look certain ways. And I don't think anybody came out of reading The Wheel of Time not thinking that the Sea Folk weren't black, or at least dark Indian or something like that, Mm-hmm. So I have no problem with Valda being black. I actually think it would have been a disservice if everyone was white. I thought it would have been a disservice.
Oh, and I agree with that 100%, for sure.
Yeah, I think that... and we're talking also about a series where they've introduced a few characters, and maybe 5% of all the characters that are supposed to be in this series. Maybe 10 at the most. But we have so many other characters to get, and from the look standpoint, I can't. I'm really, really interested to see how they show how Saldaeans look, because they have red hair qualities, freckle qualities, Asian style owl qualities, with Jewish hook noses, and they're a mix of a lot of different people. So I'm very interested to see how they portray, the Saldaeans.
Yeah.
Shiriam is supposed to be one of the most striking looking people in the series. They talk about that all the time, so I can't wait to see that. Mm-hmm. That'll be interesting. But yeah, no, I don't have a problem with them being black right now. I don't. And I mean, Balsamon is look totally different than I expected him to look. But I think that the way that they make some of the like even Logain, they had to, they made it diverse, and I like the way they did it. And I think it was a good idea the way they did it. I think also it's when they cast those guys, they weren't looking to cast a black actor. They cast the best guy that they got.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We have to look at it that way too. And a lot of people don't look at castings that way. A lot of people are like, oh, they had to pick a black guy. No, man. They picked the best audition that came their way. You know, so I think that that's that's the standpoint I'm at. That's right.
I think Great Fizz pulled this off as well, Jansen. I think that if they had gone into Two Rivers and everyone was white and Padden Fane was black and he was the bad guy, that would have stuck out. But this is it is so diverse. Every place we are at is so diverse that it's not a black man that's the bad guy. It's the bad guy who just happens to be black.
Exactly. And I love the way that you just explained that. And I hope there's so many people who understood and got what you just said, because that was probably the best way to describe this.
Oh, awesome. Thanks.
Well done.
We're running out of time. Let me see real fast. Our last section is wait, Mom, just one more minute. And so if you had just one more minute to add to the show, this episode 2 that we saw, what would you have added? It could be up to 5 minutes, but
I would have added in one more character. I would have added Bail Doman with one of the seals.
Ooh. Oh.
I would have had him at least interacting with somebody, or I would have had him at the market in the Borderlands buying that seal from the merchant that didn't know what he had.
Oh, shit.
And having him walking back to his boat and people following him. That's what I would have had.
Oh, wow. I didn't even think of that. But that adds a whole other layer and
Absolutely.
Mystery. Yep. And intrigue, and you see that disc, and you're like, "Well, oh, look at that."
Yeah, that's what I would have done. That's just me, though.
I mean, but I don't think they're even out, right? Like, I mean, like the seals, quote unquote. I think that's gonna have to be a different conversation.
We talked about whether the seal was that whole floor thing.
Yes, exactly. You don't even, because there are 7 cracks in it.
Yeah. I think I would have added just one more scene of the Two Rivers, like after they had left. I think I would have had Tam maybe talking to Matt's mom and dad for just a minute. Just kind of doing that, reassuring that Matt is just say, how are the girls, or whatever it is. And hey, listen, giving some orange juice instead of a beer and saying, hey, listen, we got to rebuild the wine spring or something. And then,
or maybe sobering Matt's dad up, something like that. I think that's, I think that would have been cool.
Just him like dunking his dad
like
in the buckets of water, like,
or even Tam saying to Abel, Matt's gone now. You need to be a dad again. Something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
That might have been pretty cool, actually. That might have been pretty cool.
I like that. I would have liked to have seen everyone else's dream sequence. What did everyone else see in their dream, and how did they react?
That's a good one.
Thought that would have been cool.
That would have been good.
Let us know in chat what you would have liked to have seen had you... Wait, Mom, one more minute.
Wait, Mom, one more minute.
Before we go and give everyone our famous ads, Jansen, do you have anything you want to tell the audience before we leave?
Let's see. I don't know if I'm allowed to, but...
Yeah, well, we have big announcements coming up soon with Jansen and
thank you,
MaTsDaGgerX. Well, I can talk about this. So I just recently was a co-star on the show Abbott Elementary that should be coming in about the next month. And it was fabulous to work with those amazing actors. I was so thankful for the opportunity.
Emmy award-winning Abbott Elementary?
That's
on ABC?
That's the one. It was amazing,
Yes.
and I'm so thankful for all the people that helped me get there and my trainers. And there's a fabulous writer who writes for the show, and her name is Brittany, and she is amazing. And her name is Brittany Nichols, and she is one of the best writers out there, an Emmy award-winning writer, and a fabulous person in her own right. And I just want to, I'm so thankful that I was able to do that.
Yeah, and as I speak for everyone here, we are thankful that you've joined this community and that you've joined our show. You are a gem.
Jemson.
You're a Jemson.
Jemson Leslie Hayes.
All right, humans on all the spectrums, we bid adieu. Before we go, let's have a word from our sponsor.
We the Leaf are proud to be partnering with Tourist Hat Coffee Company. Tourist Hat Coffee Company is a family-owned business with a strong belief in giving back to the community. Tourist Hat Coffee Company is a social purpose business whose mission is to bring people the absolute best in small batch coffee while supporting children at home and around the world. And if you go to touristhatcoffeecompany.com and use the promo code LEAF2022, you'll get 5% off your entire order. We hope Tourist Hat Coffee Company becomes your family's coffee of choice. Remember, a part of each order goes to an amazing charity and helps allow us to continue doing this show each and every week. So go to touristhatcoffeecompany.com and use promo code LEAF2022 and receive 5% off your entire order.
Oh,
Best coffee in the world.
Look at that acting. Look at those acting chops.
So good, Ryan.
Writer,
So good,
director,
KayK.
producer.
Awesome.
All right,
guys, everyone remember that the wind listens to you, okay?
Wins listens to
Keep that in
you.
mind this week.
All right, let's end on that note. Bye, everyone.